As the movie begins, we see a man emerge from an alley in a big city, and he seemed a bit disoriented as he stumbles all over the place, one hand holding his ear and another his head where blood was trickling down. Crouching down as if he was feeling unbearable pain, the man continues to walk forward. Finally unable to move any longer, he falls on the asphalt and passes out. The scene changes and we're introduced to a struggling woman by the name of Sarah, who's volunteered to receive the implants for the dynamic healthcare and was able to communicate with her female-voiced AI Lex in her head. As she's buying a burger, the AI asks her what makes her feel good. Sarah was curious about the question, and the AI explains that she needs to create a clinical profile so she can give her a more accurate diagnosis. And now, understanding what's going on, Sarah tells her that she's enjoyed being around her mom and her friends, and Lex continued to ask personal questions about Sarah's beliefs and ideas throughout the day, learning everything she could about her patient. After a long day of walking around, Sarah finds a corner to sleep in as she doesn't have a home. And the following morning, she is thrust back into the bustling city, and the AI tells her to communicate with the Department of Homeless Services so they can help her acquire a house. The two spend another day together, going about their normal routine. And the following day, Sarah finds a public bathroom so she can clean up and wash her face, and suddenly she notices that she started to feel pain in her spine around the place the implant was inserted. But Lex assures her that it's pretty normal to have bruising up to 6 weeks after the implant. After leaving the bathroom, Sarah voices her idea to call her friend so he can let her stay there while she figures things out. But Lex tells her that she shouldn't because leaning on a friend before attempting to make it on her own was a sign of weakness, and tells her that the only thing keeping her alive was the AI's program. And shocked by the AI's response, Sarah commands her to reboot, but the system refuses, telling her to calm down. And angry, Sarah tells the AI that she wants to quit the program and that she's willing to send the money back, but Lex denies her request. And panicking, Sarah steals a phone left by a construction worker and calls the clinic, telling them that the program wasn't for her, and tries to get an appointment to remove the chip as soon as possible. Before she tells them her registration number, Lex makes her collapse, and as she was on the floor, feeling a lot of pain, the AI tells her that she cannot leave her because now they're partners. She chastises her for leaving the message and tells her that they would now need to rectify her mistake, and assuring Sarah that she was now under her control, Lex warns her that she will die unless she follows her instructions. When Sarah finally agrees to follow the AI's instruction, Lex makes the pain that was coursing through Sarah's body stop. She then gives Sarah a destination and tells her to go there, and when she gets there, she orders her to get inside the building and go to the second floor and head to apartment 7. Giving her a code to enter, Lex lets her in and tells her to change into the clothing that was provided, and once she was ready, she orders her to take a flash drive that was kept in a bag and tells her to take the train to a specific location. On the train, Sarah couldn't help but feel anxious, even though the AI kept telling her to calm herself down. Her head felt heavy, almost as if she's about to fall over. When she gets close to her destination, Lex gives her a building number and tells her that she's gonna meet a man named Philip who once worked on the AI's encryption system. Knocking at the door, Sarah rushes in as soon as it opens and starts erratically asking the man to give her the CRTC folder. Confused and a little defensive, Philip asks her to leave immediately, but she finds a scissor in a drawer and stabs him in the neck. And once the man was lying on the floor, she panically started looking for the folders. Sarah finds the files in Philip's closet and rushes out of the apartment, taking the back exit to vacate the building. After she leaves, an unknown figure comes into the apartment and kills the already hurt Philip. Traumatized by the events that took place, Sarah calls her mom who was struggling with Alzheimer's, and she tries to calm herself down by listening to her mom's voice, but Lex orders her to hang up a few minutes later. The AI orders her to destroy the evidence that she's collected immediately and to return to the apartment to await further orders. After she does as she's told, Sarah goes back to the apartment and passes out, and in the morning, Lex wakes her up, telling her that they're behind schedule for the day. Quickly getting dressed, Sarah heads down to Dynamic Healthcare Clinic as per the AI's orders. She uses the pass card that she took from Philip to enter the lobby, and then takes the last elevator at the end of the corridor to the 4th floor. When she reaches the office, she receives instructions to find a specific computer and insert the flash drive so Lex can use it to erase all the evidence. Once it was complete and the security systems were disabled, Lex tells Sarah to go to the executive's office and find the scientist who had a record of the CRTC program and orders her to retrieve it. And Sarah goes to the indicated office and threatens the scientist, but as she argues with Lex about killing people, the woman manages to tase Sarah, momentarily disrupting the AI's control. As she stumbles toward the stairwell, Sarah was shocked to find the dead body of the earlier scientist, and on the lower stairs, we see the man who had killed Philip earlier was ordered by the same AI to murder the woman scientist as well. Grabbing the files from her bag, Sarah hurries out of the building and then takes the dead woman's car to escape the crime scene. In the car, Lex comes back online and informs Sarah that they were able to achieve 90% of their goals. And Lex then continues to give her another destination, but Sarah gets into a little accident. Leaving the car, Sarah finds a place to rest while Lex does a full body scan to assess any injuries. When she makes sure that she's okay, Sarah tases herself to stop the AI's activity and then heads to her mom's house, who lives a couple blocks away. When she gets there, she rushingly tells her mom and uncle what's been happening to her and gives them a list of names of all the test subjects that she's found in the dead scientist's bag. Then suddenly, the murderer who'd killed 2 of Dynamics' employees appears at the door with a gun and threatens to kill her family if she doesn't follow orders, to which she immediately agrees to. After Lex forces her to dispose of the taser so that no such accidents can be repeated, and Sarah heads to the bar after and starts to think about this whole situation for the very first time after she signed up to get the implant. The following morning, she receives another mission to retrieve a weapon and heads downtown to an old building. Once the man shows her the small handgun, Lex forces her to shoot him and run away from the building. And when she completes the task, the AI shows her that she's pleased by allowing her to see her mom. On her way there, Lex tells her that this will be the last time that she's allowed to see her mom and promises to keep her safe as long as she obeys. Sarah finds her mom drinking tea on her porch and says her goodbyes, telling her how much she loves her. And a few moments later, Sarah receives an order to leave and head to another building where Keith, a man who was working on a program to reduce Lex's computing capacity, lives. Following him as he's about to head to the building, Sarah shoots him in the head and runs away. After the crime that she committed, Sarah feels nauseated and dizzy, and she checks her vitals, and Lex tells her that her blood sugars are dangerously low and that she needs to find something to eat fast. Heading to a deli close by, Sarah orders a sandwich and waits, hoping the dizziness will pass. The next day, while Sarah was sitting by the park, Lex tells her that a man called John, who Sarah remembered from the registration, has the resources to stop them by creating a virus, then orders her to kill him. Sarah sees the man walking and walks quickly toward him and shoots him in the stomach, and once the deed was done, she was horrified by the actions and she begins to cry heavily. The AI orders her to dispose of the weapon because the police have already started the investigation, and Sarah does as she's told. After being given another location to go to, Lex tells her that her next target is a woman called Grace, who was against the human trials and the experimentation on humans for the program Lex. Grace was startled to find Sarah in her house and asks who she is, and the traumatized Sarah refuses to go through with the murder and electrocutes herself with a loose wire. When she finally wakes up, Sarah tells Grace about everything that Lex has been making her do, and she blames her and her colleagues for the pain that the AI had been causing her and the death of so many people. Grace tells Sarah that she could get her into surgery quickly and get the chip out of her body, and they rush to get to the hospital before Lex's reboot finishes. Grace opens her apartment door to leave, but is gunned down by another one of the patients that Lex is controlling. Sarah manages to escape the man and goes to the apartment that Lex has provided for her, and she continues to have panic attacks where she vividly imagines herself in a desert or an ocean drowning. A year later, Sarah has adopted living with Lex in her head, letting the AI control her life. In keeping her promise, Lex was letting Sarah live comfortably by providing her with a luxurious lifestyle. One morning, as she was going on a walk, talking to Lex, the two decide to go to Paris for vacation. Their relationship has grown into one that resembles a marriage, and the AI takes the role of the husband. After a beautiful day of looking around the city, Lex tells Sarah that she's made a reservation for her at a nice restaurant. When she arrives at the restaurant, she recognizes another man that she knew from her past, the other doctor who was there during her first registration to receive the chip. Lex then reminds her of the man's identity, then orders her to kill him. Tears welling up in her eyes, she refuses, but the AI threatens her with her life, and having no other alternatives, Sarah waits for the man in the bathroom and chokes him to death with a belt and drags him by the neck into one of the stalls. Once he was dead, she locks him in the bathroom and runs away. As Sarah sits somewhere catching her breath, devastated by what she repeatedly had to do, Lex appreciates her good work and tells her that they can celebrate her birthday soon. Once they return to New York, Sarah makes it seem like everything's okay between the two, and on her birthday, Sarah purchases some champagne and goes to a rooftop so she and Lex can watch the sunset together. Sarah tells the AI that her mother used to bring her there when she was little, and finds out that her mom has been doing very well in a good home. And sitting on the stage, Sarah toasts to their relationship and then jumps over and kills herself, escaping her miserable existence. And that is where the movie comes to an end.